All right, let's go ahead. You guys can hear me and hear the music. Let's go ahead and come down into child's pose to start. So knees nice and wide, especially if you want to work on opening and getting some nice stretch in the low back. Otherwise, you can bring the knees a little closer together and open up at the middle back if you feel like you need a little bit more there. You just sink it back, spread the fingers out, lengthen the arms over your head, and just rest the forehead to the floor. Kind of focus on your breath in this movement, and every time you exhale, try to release through the body a little bit more. Feel the arms relax a little more with each exhale. Shoulders. Feel the back become a little bit more one with the chest. And feel the hips get a little more open. And settling back down a little bit more. Now letting go through the mind. Try to set aside all those thoughts and emotions, things that might be going on later today or tomorrow. And just keep this time for yourself. After your next exhale, let's start to rise up. Coming onto all fours. Spreading the fingers out, resting the hands right under the shoulders and the knees under the hips, and let the tops of the feet just relax. Pull the stomach in a little bit and lengthen that tailbone. And just take your eyes towards the end of your mat. You're going to inhale, lift your eyes a little bit, drop your belly a little bit, but more subtle than our usual cat-cow. Exhale, tuck the chin, and then more subtly arch by pulling in the pit of the stomach as much as you can and pulling the pelvis upward as well, so you're feeling that deepest core connection. Inhale, reverse, and then exhale, come back to that. And we can really engage at this deepest level. It really allows us more strength than we ever thought was possible, whether it's in yoga or anywhere else, but particularly with something like the crow pose. We want to get a little bit upside down. We want to get in that crow pose with our feet off the ground. This is where we want to be able to connect into. Let's do a couple more. Don't worry, no crow pose coming at you today. Much more about core stabilization and strength than those arm balances or whatnot. So after this one, let's level it out. And then we're going to take it into bird dog. So you're going to reach the arm out, lengthen the leg, but press through the heel. Once you get to extension, see if you can go a little bit further and then bring it down and switch. Still focus on drawing the abs in so they're not drawing down on the low back. Just working at your own pace here. Arm comes straight out from the shoulder, leg from the hip. We don't need to lift them higher than that point. Last one. And then back into tabletop. So now I want you to curl your toes under, try to separate the 5 toes and get them all connected to the floor. Go back to that cat position where you're really pulling in at that deep core, and then just hover those knees off the ground. Hold here, try to lower the shoulders, draw in towards the spine, and then take a couple steps here. Just lift the toes, lower the toes. Lift the other toes and lower those toes. Do that 2 more times on each. And then lift into downward dog. So lift those hips up, draw them back, extending the arms but keeping the shoulders plugged in. Then you can go right into pedaling the feet out. Getting a nice stretch all the way down the calves into the heels. Then let's even the feet out, trying to draw both heels towards the floor and trying to extend through the arms a little bit and melting the chest and melting the back towards the chest. And then go ahead and walk your hands to feet, pulling that stomach in, and see if you can just walk forward without bending your legs. And land in that forward fold. Hang here in ragdoll. Turning the head. Up and down. And then go ahead and walk your hands up your legs or just rise up. Inhale, just reach the arms up here overhead. And then exhale right to the center. Bring our hands together at heart center momentarily. Close your eyes. Maybe state an intention for yourself here in this day or week. Anchor down through the feet. Feel all 4 corners and all 10 toes connected into the mat. And then just release your arms to the side, palms facing forward, and take a step in with your legs so they're a little bit closer together. Then just notice your alignment from head to toe, ears falling over mid-shoulders, shoulders setting right over the ribs setting over the hips, which sit over the knees, and the knees in line with the ankles. Pelvis should feel nice and straight, not tipping too far forward or too far back. That you are connected to that core. So let's go into standing leg raise. So let's stand on the left foot. You're gonna lift that right knee up. Bring your hand to your kneecap. So just kind of cupping your knee. And you really want to try and keep the knee level with the hip. I have the tendency to hike it up a little bit high, but we don't want to do that. With the free arm, take it out to the side. And then if you can open the knee to the other side. Getting right into the balance early here. Get into that core. And if you can with your eyes, turn them towards that lifted free arm that's reaching in the opposite direction of the lifted leg. Just feel nice and anchored down here. And then go ahead, bring it back to the center. Keeping the foot lifted, take both arms overhead and then straighten the leg out. And see if you can lift it just a little bit higher. And then gently release. Excellent. All right, so now we're on the right foot. Ground down, root down. Lift the left knee level with the hip or just below. That right arm out, and then go ahead and open, looking in the opposite direction of the knee. Trying to feel nice and level in the hips so you're not leaning in to that right side of the body. And then bring it back to the center. Take both arms overhead. Extend that leg. Lift a little higher if you can. And then release. Back to mountain pose. So let's inhale, reach up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Lengthen that spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up halfway again. Really lengthen the spine. Pull the stomach in. Feel the low back open. Exhale and fold. 2 more times here. Inhale, rise the hands up to the thighs, pulling the arms towards the back. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale, rise up. And exhale down. Let's plant the hands down to your mat. Step back into a high plank, trying to use as much of your mat as possible. Rise up on the toes, lengthen through the crown of the head, zipping all the way up the front and back of the body. And go ahead and do just a half a range of motion on the push-up, down and back up. Let's do it again, nice and level, down and up. If anything, I want the chest to go a little bit lower or lead a little bit more than the hips. So hug the hips right into the midline, pulling the pit of the stomach in. And then drop down onto all fours. So align the knees under the hips again, hands under shoulders. Lift and lengthen one arm and the opposite leg, and then this time you're gonna pull in, knee to elbow. Arching the back a little bit is fine, take it back out. Crunch it in, squeeze, and lengthen. Let's go for 8 of those. And then switch and do 8 more with the other arm and the other leg.
When the sun shines, we'll shine together. Told you I'll be here forever. Said I'll always be your friend. Took an oath I'ma stick it out till the end. Now that it's raining more than ever, know that we'll still have each other. You can stand under my umbrella. You can stand under my umbrella.
Awesome. So from there, with Those hands back under the shoulders. Widen the hands towards the edges of your mat. Lengthen one leg back with the toes curled under. And then the other one, you're back up in that high plank. Float forward so you're up on the toes. Lengthening through the crown of your head and then taking knee wide towards the same elbow. And then the other knee. Let's do a total of 10 here. And then lift into downward dog and walk your feet forward into that forward fold. So your hips just get higher and higher as you walk forward, and then you land in that fold. Let everything just kind of hang heavy. From there, we're going to drop the hips down, lift the arms up, coming into chair pose. Our Utkatasana. Pull it in, sit those hips back. Look down and lift all 10 toes and then reconnect them to the floor. And then forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Get really long in the spine, right to the crown. And exhale, fold. Inhale, step back down to tabletop. And then exhale, float the hips back to child's pose. Inhale, bring it forward. And then exhale, back to downward dog. Go ahead and bend the legs, step, walk, or hop forward. Fold. Halfway lift. Fold back down. Inhale, come back to chair pose this time. Raising those arms up, sitting back and down. Bring the palms together, your heart center. Rotate towards the right. Now notice your hips here. You want to stay nice and level. And then see if you can open the arms. Gorgeous. Twist. And then close it down. Come back to the center in chair pose. Palms to heart center. Rotate to the left. Check out your knees. Feel your hips. Trying to keep everything level. Open it up here. Twist just a little more. And then back to the center. Chair pose. And fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, step back. Come down to tabletop. And exhale, back to child's pose. Inhale, forward. Exhale, downward dog. Walk, step, or hop forward. Halfway lift. And fold. Chair pose one more time. This time I want you to just reach out in front of you and then try to melt your chest to your thighs, which means you're going to have to sit lower, keep reaching forward, and then try to feel that sensation like somebody's trying to pull you back. Gorgeous. And fold. Take your two peace fingers to your toes and try to pull your upper body right into your thighs. Elbows will come in towards your calves, perhaps. It depends on your body. And let the crown of your head fall towards the floor. Actively reaching down, lifting your sit bones up, melting the two halves of your body towards each other. Go ahead and release. Inhale, stepping back to tabletop one more time. Exhale, back to child's pose. Inhale, rise forward to tabletop, and then exhale to downward facing dog. Here, I want you to bring your feet closer together. Lift your right leg up. Keep the toes pointed down and the hip pointed down. And then you're going to inhale, bring knee to nose, arching the back, squeezing the core. Exhale, go back. Leg up to three-legged dog. Inhale, come forward, knee to elbow. Exhale, back up. Inhale, knee across to opposite elbow. Exhale, up. Place that foot to the floor. Let's go to the other one. Reach it back. Relax the shoulders, and then inhale, knee to nose, floating forward. Exhale, lift. Inhale, knee to same elbow, opening the hip. Gorgeous. Exhale, lift. Inhale, knee to opposite elbow. Exhale, lift. Or whatever. And then from there, go ahead and drop your knees to the floor. Close together, come back into child's pose. Here, I want you to walk your hands over to one side.
To look into those eyes and see an ounce of pain. Her hair reminds me of a warm, safe place where as a child I'd hide and pray for the thunder.
Go ahead, reach your arms over to the other side.
quietly pass me by. Whoa, sweet child of mine. Whoa, sweet love of mine.
And then bring it back to the center. Tabletop, and then one more time, making your way up to downward facing dog. Bring your feet kind of close together again. Lift up, pull back. Draw the heels down. Melt the chest and the back together. Go ahead and lift one leg back up into three-legged dog. This time, kick heel to butt and open that hip.
Sweet love of mine.
Reaching up, opening, and then close it, straighten that leg, reach through that foot like somebody's pulling on it, and then lower it to the floor. Let's bring the other one up. Heel to butt, open the hip. Excellent. Close the hip, straighten the leg, and feel that sensation like somebody's pulling on your heel, and then lower it down. From here, you can step, walk, or hop forward and come down into a seated position. I forgot to say a block would be good. So if you don't have a block close by, go ahead and grab it. We're going to come into a seated position. Seated staff pose to start with here. So try to pull those sit bones back. Just notice your back position and how straight you can sit and how comfortable that feels or not. Sometimes the pelvis kind of rotates under a little bit, so we tend to get a little bit more rounded, like I'm demonstrating right here. But ideally, we have the mobility and the ability to alter that and be able to sit up nice and tall. So I want you to go ahead and pull up and in at the pelvis and the deep core. And then take that block, place it in between your legs, your thighs, and just give it a little bit of a squeeze. And then let's reach the arms up overhead. Oftentimes, a lot of the yoga poses we do really benefit from being able to connect into those hip adductors. So a little squeeze on the block helps with that. Feel yourself anchored down through your sit bones. And then go ahead and release your hands down to the side. You can remove the block. Continue to stay really connected to that core, trying to pull the pelvis up a little bit. Tent the hands right next to you, and then just lift one leg up off the floor. Try to hold there, and we try to get taller instead of leaning back when we do that. Set it down, and then lift the other leg. Little moves like this, these are more like gymnastics moves, things that would be handy for different gymnasts. So lift the other leg. So we're second rep on the first leg. Set it down. Second rep on the second leg. And down. Drawing in and up. Third. And lower. Lower one more time on each leg. And then gently release. So from there, we're going to come down to a lying staff pose, or you can do waterfall. So you've got two options here. You can just be here with your hands up and your feet up, pressing through your heels. If you'd like to, you can prop your hips up. That's more of the waterfall position. So place that yoga block underneath your low back and sacrum, and then assume the same position. It's a little bit of a hybrid of the staff position. Press through the heels, reach the fingers up, but sink the shoulders down. It's a little restorative sentiment right now. You can bring your arms down to your side now if you want. Releasing the staff position and more just honoring the waterfall position. Let's go ahead, drop the heels down to the floor. Lift the hips into bridge and just slide the block out. But let's maintain the bridge position for a moment. Anchor the feet. Keeping that core brace. Feel that nice stretch on the front of the pelvis. And then lower down, vertebra by vertebra, and hug knees to chest, trying to keep the low back flat to the floor, lengthening the sacrum and the tailbone. From there, let's start to rock and roll so we can come up and land in a seated position for boat pose. Find whatever expression of that works for you today. Arms out, knees bent, getting tall and long through the spine. If you can reach your arms overhead now. And let's see if we can lengthen the legs a little bit. And then lower down to low boat, at which point you bring your arms back, reaching towards your toes a little bit. If you can bring yourself back up to the high boat, or middle boat, and then back down to lower, driving into those deep core muscles, not through your low back as you rise back up. And then one more time, low and high. And go ahead, hug knees to chest. In the seated position. Yeah, you got it. Lengthen that spine. And then go ahead and just curl your chin down towards your chest. And feel that stretch in the upper back.
In the morning when I wake and the sun is coming through.
Creating a little tension in that
Oh, you feel my
fonda that
voice
is in our throat. We don't get into that area much.
and you feel my
The constriction. And then gently release from there. You're gonna roll yourself back down. So round and lower, using those core muscles to keep it slow.
Oh, you fill my head with pieces.
And then let's straighten the legs out a little bit more. Heels down, toes up.
Can I be close?
And we're gonna lift up into a supine plank. Keep your arms at your side, palms up. Lift. Another good opportunity where you could put that block in between your thighs if you wanted and just squeeze in on it a little bit. You don't need to try and flatten it. Just adding a little more tension here. You probably feel it all over anyway.
Where the fields are painted gold.
Just a little bit of a hover. You don't want your knees hyperextending. And go ahead and remove the block and slowly lower down. Straighten one leg all the way out on the floor to rest. Bring the other up and in, interlocking the fingers around the knee or below the knee. Pull the leg out and away from the body, and then up and in towards the rib cage, and pull in a little bit more into the ribs, creating some compression there. Feel a little pinch in the hips, depending on how you're feeling, how your body is responding to any number of things today. And then go ahead and circle the foot around 3 to 4 times in each direction. Just hold the stretch. And then go ahead and send this leg away. Let's bring the other one up and in in that same fashion where you want to pull it away from the body a little, pull it up, and then pull it back in. Some rotations of the foot here.
Told me long ago, there's a calm before the storm. I know it's been coming for some time.
And then gently release, send that leg away. Shake that a little bit. And then I want you to turn onto your side, coming in to infant's pose, but your arms are going to be stretched out in front of you, kind of hand on top of hand. Pull your knees up towards your stomach. I think all of you have done this one recently. So from there, you want to keep your knees there, but take that top arm and reach it across, opening the chest, but keeping the lower back stable. When you reach that arm across, if it doesn't relax on the floor, if it feels like you need a little support, grab your yoga block so that floor can just rise up and meet you for a little bit more comfort. If it feels like an okay stretch, then by all means, chill here. Your eyes can look up at the ceiling, or you can look towards that arm, away from the knees. So the supine twist, if you ever do it on your own, I've always been a little hesitant because the lumbar spine is not meant for twisting. So the more you can bend your legs and just kind of bring them up towards your torso a little more, the safer it makes it for your low back. But this is great after any element of core work or lots of stabilization work. Let's gently release from there, maybe bringing the arms down a little bit and then bringing the knees to the center. And then you want to roll over onto the other side. So take your time making your way there. And then open it up.
Although loneliness has always been a friend of mine, I'm leaving my life in your hands. People say I'm crazy and that I am blind, risking it all in a glance. And how you got me blind, it's still a mystery. I can't get you out of my head. Don't care what is written in your history, as long as you're here with me. I don't care who you are, where you're from, what you did, as long as you love me. Who you are, where you're from, what you did, as long as you love me. Every little thing that you have said and done feels like it's deep within me.
Go ahead and release there, bringing the arms down, bringing the knees back to the center, and then making our way to Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet, knees open, arms can come out or they can frame up, whatever works. And you want to lengthen down through your tailbone, sacrum, low back, trying to feel nice and flat.
I don't care who you are, where you're from.
It's another one that benefits from yoga blocks under the knees. If it feels like too much tension, too much opening of the hips, a good one to use your breath to be able to sit in that position a little bit more. Go ahead and move our arms down to the side so we can assist our knees back up to center. And then lengthen the legs out, coming into Shavasana. A nice deep rest as we've crossed over into the second half of the week. Just getting as comfortable as you can here. Maybe a little support behind your knees would be helpful with a bolster or a block or pillow, whatever. Otherwise, just let yourself relax. Let your feet fall open, let your arms be wide, whatever. Start to bring a little movement into the body. Feet, hands, fingers, toes.
Darling, you're beautiful. Gotta keep your head up. Never let anything.
And then let's reach the arms overhead, just getting long.
Stay strong, move on.
One more time.
Such a beautiful soul. Let your
And then bring the knees to the chest, giving yourself a glorious hug.
darling, darling, you're beautiful. You gotta keep your head up.
And then again,
Let anything.
rolling onto one side,
Sunshine will always come around.
pausing here to acknowledge yourself for
You have such
getting
a
here
beautiful soul.
often as you
Let
can.
your energy radiate.
And then from there, push yourself up to seated position. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, bring the hands together right down to heart center. Observing how you're feeling in this moment. Maybe setting another intention as you move on into the rest of your day. From there, let's move up to that third eye and bow forward to each other, recognizing each other for our work in Namaste. Excellent. Have a great